the situation in the heavyweight division right now. So, at some point, it was announced that Fury. I was going to talk about this earlier, of course. Um, so this is somewhat old news, but maybe you are thinking that you're going to see Fury and Joshua soon, and you're wondering why the fuck am I not going to see it? So this is me explaining it to you. Basically, they had Fury and Joshua, the fight announced for August 14th. Right, it was going to be in Saudi Arabia. They had the site figured out. August 14th. Right. While that's happening, and I guess while they're negotiating the fight between Fury and Joshua, Wilder has taken it to arbitration that he believes he's entitled to a third fight with Fury contractually. So he's taken that to arbitration. And not terribly long after that fight for August 14th is announced, it is also comes out that Wilder wins the arbitration and that he is, in fact, entitled to a third fight with Fury. So immediately that puts the Fury-Joshua fight in question, and then not long after that, it cancels it. Because, again, not long after that, they put pen to paper that Fury-Wilder 3 is going to happen July 24th. And while all that's happening, the WBO orders Joshua to fight Usyk, and says to him, if you're not going to fight Usyk, you got to prove to us why you're not going to fight Usyk. So that's the short version of what happened. Fury Joshua is not happening right now because Deontay Wilder is contractually entitled to a third fight. So there's some things about this that are fucking annoying as shit, right? Like, this was a really great moment where we maybe could have had an undisputed heavyweight champion that is clearly, for sure, 100% the best guy in the world with all four belts, right? Joshua's got 3 of them, Fury's got 1 of them, and the claim to being the lineal champion. So that's obviously the fight we all wanted to see, right? And if I'm being brutally honest, I don't give a shit about Fury Wilder 3. I don't give a fuck about that fight, dude. I could care less. I mean, good on Wilder for having the balls to want to do it. It shows that he's a champion. But there's nothing he can do from an IQ sense to beat this guy. This guy's got his number. He's a vastly better boxer than Wilder. And he's also shown that he can just step to him and muscle him around and fuck him up. And I just don't see Wilder even doing mitts and looking pretty and all that. I just don't see how he doesn't have the boxing skills to dissuade Fury from doing whatever the fuck Fury wants to do. If Fury wants to have a twinkle toes fight, it's going to be a twinkle toes fight, just like the first one. If Fury wants to have a brawl, it's going to be a brawl just like the second one. And Wilder's shown that he can't match that. Even if he puts this guy flat on his fucking back, he's the one guy that gets up. Right? So I don't give a shit about that fight. But if that fight happening means that it opens up the door for Fury and Joshua, let's get it popping. The fight that I do actually care about is Joshua and Usyk. And I've been saying that for a long time, that that's one of the best fights you can make at the whole heavyweight division, because you have Joshua, who is a really good boxer, good boxing IQ, good jab, good footwork, hand speed. You know, he's got all the things. And Usyk, to me, is the most athletic, pure boxer in all of heavyweight boxing. He's also the smallest heavyweight in elite heavyweight boxing. So it does give him that one kind of disadvantage. And like my guest Otis Griffin said, in his first fight at heavyweight, he didn't wear heavyweight punches all that well. You know, it looked like they affected him. And honestly, against Chisora, it looked like they affected him too. I think less so because he was on the move. He was moving his head real nice. He was blocking a lot. But you could see when Chisora was landing that it was moving him. But his hand speed and his coordination, he's hitting you at times where no other heavyweight is going to hit you, with combinations no other heavyweight's going to hit you with. So that's a meaningful fight to me. Joshua or Fury Wilder 3, I don't really give a shit about that. But Joshua and Usyk is actually, I think, one of the best fights in all of heavyweight boxing and maybe even all of boxing. It's a great matchup. So if those are two fights that we gotta watch in order to get to Fury Joshua, I'm all for it. The problem is, there's always with somebody who punches the way that Wilder does, there's always the chance that everything I just said is wrong, right? Because he could just land one, and you're out like a light. That's definitely a possibility. Anytime he steps in the ring, so anything I just said could go out the window like that. 11 rounds, 2 minutes 59 seconds of that could go away like that because he's got that equalizer, and he's the best puncher in boxing, right? So these are also high risk fights to take in order to get that. I think that Usyk could beat Joshua. I think there's a potential he gives him a boxing lesson. So if Usyk gives Joshua a boxing lesson, now you fuck this money up, because there's no way Usyk and Fury is anywhere near as marketable as Joshua and Fury. In the UK and really anywhere else, I mean, that's the marketable fight. Usyk is a great fighter, but he doesn't have that same kind of name recognition that Joshua or that Fury has. So I think that taking fights this risky puts the mega fight in danger. That's always the risk you take. If you don't put a mega fight together in the moment that it's there to be made, you always, risk losing that opportunity. We've seen it so many times in boxing. Off the top of my head, Juan Manuel Lopez and Gamboa were on the same card all the fucking time when they were younger, and they just never wound up fighting each other. So there's always that chance that you spoil it by just waiting too long, and then somebody loses and the fight loses its marketability, and then it's not what you want it to be. It doesn't have the same meaning anymore. But this is the politics of boxing, man. And there's a part of me that feels like Arum had to know this was a risk and just wasn't verbalizing that. I don't have any proof of that, but how do you not fucking know this is a possibility? You know what I mean? You're signing a fucking multi-million-dollar fight. You should probably make sure that's cleared up. So